COF Productions would like to thank you for joining us today. Today we're hearing from Reverend Jimmy Allen during the 2010 In the Stand Men's Retreat. He talks today on living the dash. Join us now for insights from Reverend Allen.
I believe for today, at this time, eternity hangs in the balance for somebody. And what I mean by that is that I believe that today, right now, somebody, not a lot of us, some of us in here have some very serious decisions we need to make about our relationship with Jesus Christ. There may be some here who need to start it. There may be some of us here who need to get it fired up again. There may be some of us who need to go a different direction than we've been going. But I believe that eternity hangs in the balance. I'm going to tell you like the black preacher used to say, I ain't trying to scare you, I'm trying to prepare you. Right, and that's what I want us to get ready for. I mean, this has been on my heart so strong in the last few weeks and days. I've never used a tombstone as a prop. As a matter of fact, I like to try to avoid the things. When I was serving here at Trinity, they got a phone call at the church. And the phone call came in to our secretary then, her name was Diane McGrady, and came in to her and they said, what happened to Jimmy? And she said, what are you talking about? I said, we saw in the obituaries he had died. And I'd been gone from the church for a couple of days, so she didn't know that I hadn't died. And she called me up and on the cell phone. I answered it, and she was shocked, I think, because they had seen a Jimmy Allen in the obituary that he had died. Made me think about my life at that time. But what I want us to think about right now, I've gone through cemeteries a lot. Been in there. I served in a little community, and I've never seen this as rural a cemetery as I saw in this little community, a place called Gainesville, Alabama. I mean, anybody here ever heard of Gainesville? Not many of us, I bet. More than I thought. Out in the middle of nowhere, there's a cemetery. You go out in the cemetery, they got all these old headstones. And way back, a couple of 100 years old, some of them. And as you look at those headstones, you got two dates. You got a starting date, and you got an ending date. The day they were born and the date that they died. And have you ever thought about what it was like to live back in those days? Have you ever thought about what it was like to try to figure out how this person lived? Maybe they were back in the 1800s, and you think about what was their life like at that time. And when it all comes down to it, I shared this a little bit last night, and I want to share it again today. When it all comes down to it, guys, it's the dash that I want to concentrate on. The beginning date is the birth, the ending date is our death. We don't have any control over those two items. All we have control over is the dash in the middle. Now I want us to really think a little bit about that. You think about that little dash. What happened? I look at some of these tombstones and I see that dash. What happened in their lifetime? Who did they love? What kind of person were they? What kind of problems did they deal with? What kind of issues were going on in their life? What was happening in their lifetime that's contained in that little dash? When you think about it, we don't have a lot of control over anything. We didn't have any control over who our parents were. We don't have any control over when we were born. We don't have any control over what culture we were born into. We don't have any control over the time period in which we were born. We don't have any control over any of that kind of stuff. And if we are going to be real honest with ourselves, we don't have any control over our death. All we have control over are the choices we make in the dash.